This isn't the prettiest way to land a fish, but you really don't want them downstream of me. Alright, so in this video I just wanted to go through some of my favorite flies to use on the Provo River. I'm not necessarily saying these are the best flies to use on the Provo River, they're just my favorite, the ones I've had the most success with. And as you can see, the first three might be a little bit surprising, especially since the title of this video refers to flies that you can use in the winter and the fall. The reason why I have hopper flies here is because not only have I had fish go for hoppers in the early fall, but also because they just make a really good indicator. A lot of the times you'll see people out there using a thingamabobber or another kind of indicator, a big clunky indicator. There's also those yarn indicators that work great. And these are okay. These thingamabobbers are okay if you have a lot of weight on there and you need to keep your line a little bit more buoyant. But I really love the hopper flies as an indicator whenever possible, just because of the chance that a fish actually goes for the hopper, which can happen, even in the colder months. So my favorite trailing fly to fish with a high floating hopper is just a sow bug here. I don't know how well you can see that. This particular sow bug is actually called the Provo River sow bug, and it's actually made locally. This is probably my favorite fly to fish on the Provo River. I've caught more fish on this fly than any other fly. So if I could choose one fly to fish the Provo River with, it would be the Provo River sow bug. I fish these sow bugs anywhere from 18 to 20 inches below the hopper, and sometimes I'll even just fish right from the bottom. Of course, another fly you hear a lot about are midges, or things that look similar to a midge. These are not my favorite fly to fish with. I haven't had as much success with these as I have with the sow bug, but this is probably the most referred to fly that I've heard of on the Provo River. Midges in all their various stages. One great fly to use, especially in the fall, but also in the winter, is a streamer. I would normally go with a black woolly bugger, but I didn't actually have one on me, so I used this as an example. But black and olive are my favorite colors of streamers. In the fall, you have a great chance of catching a fish, stripping a streamer. In the winter, I've had some success with some pretty big fish, just casting a black woolly bugger straight in front of me upstream and letting it dead drift towards me. Last but certainly not least is the worm pattern. Aside from the sow bug, I would say these are tied with the sow bug. I've probably caught more fish with the sow bug and a San Juan worm, or something like a San Juan worm, than any other fly. I guess if you can call those two things fly. If you don't think it's cheating to fish with a worm fly, man, these are super effective on the Provo River in the winter, in the spring, in the fall, summer. Whenever you can get it in front of a fish, you have a pretty good chance of catching one on a worm. I like to fish the worm patterns as close as I can get to the bottom. You usually know you're in the right spot when you snag every third or fourth cast on the bottom. As far as an indicator goes, sometimes I'll use a grasshopper if there's not too much weight below the grasshopper, but sometimes if I'm fishing right off the bottom, the best option is a thingamabobber or a big chunk of yarn indicator. Well, there you have it. Those are my 5 top fly patterns to use on the Provo River. Unless you don't count a worm as a fly pattern, then 4. I have 4 or 5 top fly patterns to use on the Provo River.